Ladies and gentlemen, there was a time in your life when you woke up with energy, with passion, with a fire in your heart that made you unstoppable. You had dreams, you had goals, you had that drive, that inner force that pushed you to keep moving forward no matter what stood in your way. But maybe somewhere along the journey, life happened, responsibilities piled up, failures knocked you down, doubts whispered louder than your courage, and now you find yourself asking, where did my drive go? Today, I want to tell you this. Your drive didn't disappear. It's not gone. It's just buried under fear, under excuses, under the weight of what life has thrown at you. And the good news is you can get it back. Step one, remember your why. The fire you once had was never random. It was lit by a purpose, by a vision that mattered to you. Go back and ask yourself, why did I start? What was I chasing? What made my heart beat faster? Reconnect with that reason. Your why is the fuel, and without fuel, no engine runs. Step two, start small, but start now. Drive doesn't come back in one big leap, it comes back through small wins. If you've lost your momentum, take one step today. Read one page, write one paragraph, run 1 mile, make one call. Small progress creates energy, and energy reignites passion. Step three, surround yourself with energy, not excuses. Your drive reflects your environment. If you surround yourself with people who are negative, complacent, or comfortable, your spark will fade. But if you surround yourself with dreamers, doers, and believers, your fire will roar again. Energy is contagious. Choose wisely. Step four, rebuild yourself. Discipline. Motivation may start the engine, but discipline keeps the car moving when motivation fades. Drive is not about always feeling like it. Drive is about choosing action even when you don't feel ready. That's how you rebuild momentum. Step five, redefine failure. Many of us lost our drive because failure hurt us. We let it crush us instead of teach us. But every failure is feedback. Every setback is a lesson. Every mistake is a map pointing you forward. The people with unshakable drive are not the ones who never fail, they're the ones who never quit. My friends, the drive you once had is not lost. It's waiting for you to wake it up. The fire inside you is still burning, even if it's just an ember. All it takes is one breath of courage, one spark of action, one reminder of your purpose, and that ember will become a flame again. So ask yourself, will you let your drive stay buried, or will you bring it back to life? Because the truth is, you don't need to create a new fire, you just need to remember how to feed the one you already have. It's time to reignite your passion. It's time to move again. It's time to get back the drive you used to have, and this time, make it unstoppable. Reconnect with your why. Every ounce of drive that has ever fueled your journey has come from one thing, your why. When you were at your best, when you woke up excited and unstoppable, it wasn't random. It wasn't luck. It was because you had a vision that mattered to you. You had a reason strong enough to pull you out of bed in the morning, to keep you working when you were tired, and to silence the doubts that whispered in your ear. That reason, your why, is the root of your drive. But here's the problem. As time goes on, we often lose sight of it. Life gets noisy. Responsibilities pile up. The fire that once burned bright gets covered by distractions, failures, and fatigue. And then we wonder why we don't feel the same spark we used to. The truth is simple. You didn't lose your drive, you just lost sight of your reason. Think about it like this: a rocket doesn't launch itself into space just because it feels like it. It launches because of fuel. Without fuel, it's just metal sitting on the ground. Your why is that fuel. Without it, your passion stalls. But the moment you remember why you started, the moment you reconnect with what really matters, the engine roars back to life. So how do you reconnect with your why? Start by asking yourself powerful questions. Why did I start chasing this goal in the first place? What did I want to create, achieve, or change? Who was I doing this for? Myself, my family, my community, or maybe the world? Go deep, be honest. Your real why isn't just about money, recognition, or success. It's something personal, something that tugs at your heart, something that, when you remember it, makes you feel alive again. Sometimes your why changes over time. What drove you 5 years ago may not be what drives you now. That's okay. Growth means your purpose evolves with you. What's important is not clinging to an old reason that no longer inspires you, but redefining your why so it matches the person you've become. For example, maybe your drive used to come from proving people wrong. But now, maybe it's about becoming the best version of yourself. Maybe it used to be about making money, but now it's about freedom, family, or legacy. The key is clarity. Once you're crystal clear on your why, your passion reignites. And here's something powerful. Your why doesn't just drive you, it protects you. When life hits hard, when failures knock you down, when doubt clouds your mind, your why becomes your anchor. It keeps you steady when the storm rages. It gives you the strength to stand back up and keep moving forward. Without it, the storm wins. With it, you win. So if you're asking yourself how to get back the drive you used to have, the answer begins here. Go back to your why. Write it down, speak it out loud, remind yourself of it every day. Let it live not just in your head, but in your heart. Because once you remember why you started, the fire inside you begins to burn again. And when the fire burns, the drive follows. Start small, but start now. One of the biggest lies we tell ourselves when we've lost our drive is this: I'll start when I feel ready. But here's the truth: you will never feel fully ready. Waiting for the perfect moment is the fastest way to guarantee that you'll never begin. Drive doesn't magically appear when conditions are perfect. It grows when you take action, especially small, consistent action. Think back to when you felt the most unstoppable in life. Was it because you had everything figured out? Was it because every resource, every opportunity, and every circumstance lined up perfectly for you? Of course not. You felt driven because you were in motion. You were moving toward your goals, and with every step you took, your confidence grew, your energy expanded, and your drive multiplied. That's the secret. Momentum creates motivation. Action comes before energy, not the other way around. You don't wait until you're motivated to start, you start, and then motivation follows. The mistake many people make is trying to start too big. They think, if I'm going to get back my drive, I need to do everything at once. They set massive goals, overcommit, and when they can't sustain it, they burn out or quit. That cycle kills momentum before it even begins. The smarter path is to start small, ridiculously small if you have to. If you've stopped working out, don't force yourself to run 5 miles tomorrow. Just start with 10 push-ups or a 10-minute walk. If you've stopped writing, don't demand a novel in a week. Start with 1 page, even 1 paragraph. If you've stopped building your business, don't overwhelm yourself with 12-hour workdays. Start with 1 call, 1 email, 1 step. Why? Because small wins matter. They rebuild your self-trust. Every time you take a small step, you send yourself a powerful message: I can do this. That belief, that self-confidence is the foundation of drive. You don't need to leap a mountain today. You just need to take 1 step, and then another, and then another. Think about how a snowball works. At first, it's tiny. It almost feels pointless to roll it. But as you keep pushing, it gathers more snow. It grows bigger, faster, and heavier. Before long, it's unstoppable. That's momentum, and momentum is built on small starts. There's also something psychological at play here. When you start small, your brain doesn't resist as much. It's easy to say yes to 5 minutes, to 1 step, to a single action. And once you're in motion, something magical happens. You often do more than you planned. You go for a 10-minute walk, but end up walking for 30. You sit down to write 1 paragraph, but end up writing 2 pages. Action has a way of pulling more action out of you. The key is to stop waiting for motivation and instead use action as the spark. Don't underestimate the power of tiny wins. They compound, they stack, they create energy, and soon they build the momentum you've been missing. So, if you've been feeling stuck, don't tell yourself you need to rebuild your old drive in 1 giant leap. That's overwhelming. Instead, commit to something you can do today, right now, not tomorrow, not next week now, because tomorrow becomes never if you keep postponing. Remember this truth: success isn't about doing massive things occasionally. It's about doing small things consistently, and consistency is what brings the drive back to life. So don't wait for the perfect day. Don't wait until you feel ready. Start small, start imperfectly. But most importantly, start now. Because once you start, the energy you've been missing will find you again. Surround yourself with the right energy. There's a simple but powerful truth about drive: you can't sustain it in the wrong environment. Even the strongest fire will go out if you keep pouring water on it. And for many people, the reason they've lost their drive isn't because they're weak or lazy, it's because they're surrounded by the wrong energy. Energy is contagious. Whether you realize it or not, the people around you are shaping your level of ambition, your outlook on life, and your willingness to keep going when things get hard. If you spend your days around people who constantly complain, who settle for less, who make excuses instead of progress, guess what? That energy seeps into you. Without noticing it, you start lowering your standards too. You start accepting mediocrity as normal. Your spark dims. On the other hand, when you surround yourself with people who are hungry, driven, and focused, something shifts inside you. Their energy rubs off on you. Their ambition makes you raise your own standards. Their courage makes you braver. Their consistency makes you more disciplined. In short, the right people can reignite your drive. This is why it's often said, "Show me your friends and I'll show you your future." The truth is, we become like the people we spend the most time with. If you've lost your drive, take a hard look at your circle. Ask yourself, do the people I spend time with inspire me, or do they drain me? Do they encourage my growth, or do they keep me stuck? Are they cheering for my progress, or secretly hoping I fail so they feel better about themselves? Sometimes the biggest obstacle to your drive is not inside you, but around you. And that means if you want your drive back, you may need to upgrade your environment. That doesn't always mean cutting people out completely, but it does mean creating boundaries. You don't have to spend hours listening to negativity, gossip, or excuses. Protect your energy the same way you'd protect your health. Now here's the beautiful part. Surrounding yourself with the right energy isn't only about people. It's also about what you feed your mind daily. The podcasts you listen to, the books you read, the content you consume, all of these are shaping your mindset. If your mind is constantly being filled with noise, drama, and distractions, your drive will weaken. But if you feed it with inspiration, knowledge, and growth, your drive will strengthen. Think of it like fueling your body. If you eat junk every day, you'll feel tired, heavy, and slow. But if you nourish your body with the right food, you'll feel lighter, stronger, and more energetic. Your mind works the same way. What you consume becomes the fuel for your drive. So, here's a practical challenge. Audit your environment. Look at your circle, your content, your routines. Then ask yourself, is this giving me energy or is it draining me? Be ruthless with the answer. Because your drive depends on it. If you can't find the right people around you, don't worry, seek them out. Read biographies of great leaders. Join online communities of like-minded achievers. Find mentors who inspire you. Even if you don't know them personally, their energy and example can lift you higher. At the end of the day, your drive is like a flame. If you protect it, feed it, and surround it with the right conditions, it will grow stronger. But if you keep it in the wrong environment, it will suffocate. So ask yourself, who and what am I allowing into my space? Because every choice you make, every person you let close, every word you listen to, every piece of content you consume is either oxygen or poison for your drive. If you want your drive back, protect your space, choose your circle wisely, and surround yourself with energy that pushes you forward. Because when your environment is right, your fire doesn't just come back, it becomes unstoppable. Discipline over motivation. Line over motivation. One of the biggest myths about drive is that it comes from motivation. People say things like, I just need to feel motivated again, and then I'll get back on track. But here's the problem: motivation is unreliable. It's an emotion, and emotions are temporary. They rise and fall depending on your mood, your circumstances, and even how much sleep you got last night. If you build your drive on motivation alone, it will collapse the moment motivation disappears. The truth is, lasting drive is built on discipline. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. It is the habit of showing up, day after day, regardless of whether you feel like it. While motivation whispers, do it when you feel inspired, discipline commands, do it because you said you would. Let's take a simple example, going to the gym. Some days you feel energized, excited, and motivated to work out. On those days, it's easy to show up. But what about the days you're tired, stressed, or not in the mood? If you rely on motivation, you'll skip it. And every skipped workout chips away at your momentum, your confidence, and your drive. But if you rely on discipline, you go anyway. You show up not because you feel like it, but because you promised yourself you would. And over time, that consistency builds results. Here's what's powerful. Discipline actually creates motivation. When you do the hard things consistently, even when you don't want to, you start to build self-respect, and that self-respect becomes fuel. You begin to trust yourself again. You prove through action that you are capable of following through. That proof reignites your drive. Think about any area of your life where you've succeeded before. Was it motivation that carried you all the way, or was it the habit of showing up, even on the hard days? Students don't graduate because they feel motivated every day. They graduate because they study and attend classes consistently. Athletes don't win championships because they only train when they feel good. They win because they practice with discipline, rain or shine. Entrepreneurs don't build businesses by working only when inspiration strikes. They build them by putting in disciplined effort, day after day. This is why discipline is more powerful than motivation. It gives you freedom. It frees you from the trap of waiting for the right feeling. It frees you from procrastination. It frees you from the constant cycle of starting and stopping. With discipline, you don't ask yourself, do I feel like it today? You simply act, because action has become part of who you are. So how do you strengthen discipline? Start by creating routines and systems. Don't leave success up to chance. If you want to work out, schedule it. If you want to write, block time for it. If you want to learn, commit to daily study. Make your actions automatic so they don't depend on willpower alone. Second, keep promises to yourself. Too many people treat their commitments to themselves as negotiable, while treating promises to others as unbreakable. But here's the truth. The promises you make to yourself are the most important of all. Every time you break them, you lose trust in yourself. Every time you keep them, your discipline grows stronger. Finally, embrace discomfort. Discipline often feels hard in the moment, but it builds strength for the long run. Think of it like lifting weights. The resistance makes you stronger. The discomfort of discipline today is the price of freedom, confidence, and drive tomorrow. At the end of the day, motivation might get you started, but only discipline will carry you to the finish line. If you want your drive back not just for a moment, but for a lifetime, stop waiting to feel motivated. Train yourself to act with discipline, because once discipline becomes your foundation, nothing can stop you. Redefine failure as feedback. One of the main reasons people lose their drive is failure. At some point, you set a goal, gave your all, and still didn't get the result you wanted. Maybe you started a business and it collapsed. Maybe you trained hard for something and came up short. Maybe you gave your heart to a dream and life didn't reward you the way you expected. And in that moment, the fire inside you dimmed. You started to wonder, what's the point? Why try again if I might just fail again? But here's the truth. Failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is part of success. Every person you admire, every leader, every champion, every innovator, they didn't succeed because they avoided failure. They succeeded because they learned to use failure as feedback. Think about a baby learning to walk. They fall again and again. If failure meant the end, no child would ever walk. But babies don't see falling as failure, they see it as practice. They learn balance, they adjust, and they try again. Eventually, they walk. Eventually, they run. That's the purest example of how failure really works. The problem is, as adults, we've been taught to fear failure. We attach shame to it. We think failing means we're not good enough. So instead of using failure as information, we use it as a reason to stop. That's how drive dies. If you want your drive back, you must redefine failure. You have to see it for what it really is: feedback, a teacher, a map. Every failure is a lesson in disguise, showing you what doesn't work, so you can find what does. Thomas Edison, when asked about the thousands of times he failed to invent the light bulb, famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10 ways that won't work." That mindset is what made him unstoppable. He didn't let failure crush him. He let it guide him. This is how you must approach your own setbacks. When something doesn't go your way, don't say, "I failed." Say, "I learned." Ask yourself, what can I take from this? What lesson is hidden here? How can I apply this next time? That shift in perspective transforms failure from an enemy into an ally. And here's the powerful part. Once you stop fearing failure, your drive returns. Why? Because fear is the biggest brake on your ambition. When you're scared of failing, you hesitate, you procrastinate, you hold yourself back. But when you see failure as feedback, you stop being afraid to try. You free yourself to move, to act, to chase your goals again. And with action comes momentum. With momentum comes drive. It's also important to remember this. The people who fail the most are often the ones who succeed the most. They're not more talented or more lucky. They simply keep trying. They keep putting themselves in the arena. They keep learning, adjusting, and moving forward. So if you failed before good, that means you're human. That means you're trying. That means you're on the path. Don't let that failure define you. Let it refine you. The next time you stumble, remind yourself, failure is not a full stop. It's a comma. It's not the end of your story. It's just a pause before the next chapter. And that next chapter might be the one where everything changes for you. So if you want to get back the drive you used to have, stop running from failure, embrace it, learn from it, let it sharpen you. Because failure is not the enemy of drive, it is the fuel that keeps drive alive. Ladies and gentlemen, we've walked through the steps to reclaim the drive. You once had the fire that once pushed you, inspired you, and made you unstoppable. And now it's time to bring it all together. It starts with remembering your why. Without purpose, the engine doesn't run. Your why is the reason you began, and it is the reason you will rise again. Reconnect with it because it is your fuel. Then start small, but start now. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Take the first step, however small, because action creates momentum, and momentum awakens drive. Third, protect your energy by surrounding yourself with the right environment. The people and influences around you are either oxygen or poison to your fire. Choose wisely. Feed your spirit with positivity, ambition, and courage. Fourth, replace motivation with discipline. Motivation may light the spark, but discipline keeps the fire burning. Show up not only when you feel like it, but because you've made a promise to yourself. That consistency will rebuild your self-respect, and with it, your drive. And finally, redefine failure as feedback. Failure is not the end, it is a teacher. Every stumble is a step forward if you choose to learn. The people with unstoppable drive are not the ones who never fail, but the ones who refuse to quit. So here is the truth. Your drive was never gone. It was only buried beneath fear, beneath excuses, beneath doubt. And now, with clarity of purpose, small consistent steps, the right environment, the strength of discipline, and the courage to embrace failure, you have the tools to dig it up and light it again. The fire inside you is not dead. It's waiting for you, waiting for your decision, waiting for your courage, waiting for you to act. So the question is not whether you can get your drive back. The question is, will you choose to? Because the moment you do, nothing and no one will be able to stop you. Thank you.